Hungry Owl by Harrison Jones, age 6. There once was a hungry owl who came upon a delicious snake. But the snake said, "No, don't eat me. I would be more delicious if you let me eat a lizard first." So the owl agreed to wait a little longer to eat the snake. The snake came upon a delicious lizard, but the lizard said, "No, don't eat me. I would be more delicious if you let me eat a spider first." So the snake agreed to wait a little longer to eat the lizard. The lizard came upon a delicious spider, but the spider said, "No, don't eat me. I would be more delicious if you let me eat a bug first." So the lizard agreed to wait a little longer to eat the spider. The spider came upon a delicious bug, but the bug said, "No, don't eat me. I would be more delicious if you let me eat a leaf first." So the spider agreed to wait a little longer to eat the bug. Then the bug came up with an idea. "Let's all eat leaves together." So the bug, the spider, the lizard, and the snake all enjoyed a leaf salad. Then the owl ate all of them. "You're right. That was delicious." The end.
Princess Diamond by Sadie Jones, age 4. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Princess Diamond. She learned at a school where you learn diamonds. She learned that tigers love their mom. She gave each of her friends some wings that have diamonds in them. The dragon tried to eat Princess Diamond and her friends. The diamond rings were magic. The diamonds put the dragon to sleep. And then the diamonds were sneakily putting the dragon in its bed. Everybody was happy. The end.
Bob the Blob, written by Jackson Jones, age 8. There once was a mad scientist named Larry Gary. Usually he made things like flying cars or kung fu robots. One day he experimented by mixing up some untested blobber fluster with 3 alligator eyes. The mixture exploded in a cloud of dust, and when the smoke vanished, a small creature appeared, as small as a thumb. The scientist thought this small creature was very cute, and decided to call him Bob the Blob. Bob the Blob looked hungry and wanted to eat, so the scientist gave him a grape. Within 1 second, the grape disappeared, and Bob the Blob seemed larger. A few minutes later, the scientists found Bob the Blob in the refrigerator eating an apple. Bob grew even bigger. Then Bob the Blob ate the apple pie that the scientist was saving for later. "You sure are hungry," said the scientist. Bob the Blob was now the size of a basketball, so he ate one. He grew to the size of a dog, so he ate the neighbor's dog too. Bob the Blob was getting bigger by the second. The mad scientist realized he had created a monster. The scientist went outside to think. A few minutes later, he saw Bob the Blob eating his house. The scientist told everyone in town to evacuate, and they held an emergency town meeting at Costco. "Bob the Blob will soon eat our entire city, then the state, then the country, then the continent, then the whole planet. We have to stop him before he eats everything." Then everyone heard a loud crunch and saw Bob the Blob, now larger than a house, coming towards them. The scientist quickly ordered the largest churro Costco makes and threw it in the opposite direction to try to distract Bob the Blob. It worked. Bob followed the churro. For a moment, everyone was relieved. Then Bob the Blob turned around and headed straight for the scientist. "Oh no," yelled the scientist. "Run, everybody, let's go." But one of the townspeople told the others, "It's hopeless, we're too slow." Bob the Blob reached the scientist, and the scientist knew he was about to get eaten. But then something strange happened. Bob the Blob dropped the churro at the scientist's feet and panted like a dog. "Does he seem smaller to anyone?" asked the scientist. The scientist threw the churro again. Bob the Blob chased the churro, ran it back, and sure enough, he was smaller than before. "Exercise, that's it. He needs more exercise." The scientist continued throwing the churro until Bob the Blob was back to the size of a thumb. Oh, and along the way, he spit up the neighbor's dogs. The townspeople cheered and gave the scientist a free lifetime supply of Costco churros. The end.
Daisy's Adventure by Carly Jones, age 10. Once upon a time, there was a little fairy named Daisy. She was super excited because she was finally old enough to go to fairy school, where she would learn how to use her wand, fly, and get a job. She packed her bags and her mother flew her to school. The fairy teacher's name was Mrs. Rose. A popular and sneaky girl named Iris asked, "Mrs. Rose, I heard there's an evil witch named Poison Ivy. Are we safe here?" Mrs. Rose said, "Of course. As long as you stay in the school gardens, you will be protected from the evil witch Poison Ivy." Mrs. Rose taught the fairies the growing spell. This was a spell that made plants grow. Swish, up, down, and out, she told the class. Daisy enjoyed learning about how to swish her wand and watched her tulip grow, but she was nervous and shy because she still hadn't made any friends. On her second day of school, she met a girl named Flora. Flora was very outgoing and kind. It did not take long for Flora and Daisy to become great friends. One day, Iris told Daisy and Flora about a unicorn who was about to give birth to a baby just outside the garden walls. Daisy had never seen a unicorn before and was very fond of mythical creatures. She couldn't pass up a chance to see a baby unicorn. So Daisy and Flora snuck beyond the garden walls. Once they crossed the wall, they did not see a unicorn. Instead, they saw Iris. Iris turned to look at them with a wicked sneer. "I knew you two weirdos would follow me here. Now prepare to face your doom." In a flash of light, Iris turned into the evil witch, Poison Ivy. With a swipe of her wand, Poison Ivy trapped Daisy and Flora in a fairy cage. She hung the cage from a tree and said, "My pet wolf is hungry. I'll go let him know his dinner is served." Poison Ivy vanished. Flora began to cry and was ready to give up hope, but then Daisy got an idea. She felt her wand in her pocket and only knew one thing to try. "Swish up, down, and out," said Daisy. She pointed her wand at a small plant on the ground. Immediately, it began to grow. Daisy kept her focus, and the plant grew larger and larger. A twig began to sprout from the plant and aimed directly for the keyhole of the cage. With one final swish, the twig unlocked the cage, and the two girls jumped out. They heard a howl and turned to see the wolf running toward them. They heard Poison Ivy yell, "Get him, boy!" They sprinted toward the wall as the wolf chased them, baring its teeth. They just barely made it over the wall in time, avoiding being devoured by Poison Ivy's wolf. The girls went straight to Mrs. Rose and told her about the true identity of Iris. Mrs. Rose said, "Oh, thank goodness. I will make sure that Iris is expelled and never allowed into our school. You saved us all. Thank you, Daisy and Flora." The end.